Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Knack. We do have live tournament action coming at you right now. It is going to be DignitasKiLLeR in his second game now, taking on No Micro Win, also known as Nomi. Isn't that correct, Wendy?
That would be correct, my friend. And I just actually realized this. Some people are wondering what DignitasKiLLeR his little his Zerg icon was that was casting down there. It's that's what he got for winning Blue's icon.
Oh, is that what that is? Wow,
Yep.
Okay. So that's cool. So that was when he won his BlizzCon or whatever.
So that's what he got for winning BlizzCon. But without further delay, we do have DignitasKiLLeR spawning in the southwestern location here on GSL Kravas, and his opponent, the Protoss player Nomi, spawning in the northeast. Now, Knack, tell me, Protoss player against playing one of the best, probably one of the best Zergs out there. He has won BlizzCon, which is, you know, something not to ignore. What would you say, GSL Kravas? Would you go for the Forge Fast Expand since it's so easy?
Yeah, I think I would. I mean, Forge Fast expanding on a map even this large is always a good idea. It's the current metagame, I think, at this point, unless you're going to go for some, some interesting tricks. But since it's a best of three, a tournament match here, I expect to see him playing relatively safe, and going for the early econ is going to be the best play there, I think. So I expect to see him go for some kind of expansion here. He may even go for, the nice thing is, since it's a back pocket expansion, is you can still expand with a gateway, but he is indeed going for the Forge here, so to be expected.
Looks like it will be a Forge Fast Expand. Good choice out of Nomi. Wants to play it safe. It is cross positions, although he doesn't know that quite yet. I'm sure he's going to find that out. But a map like this, it's always going to be a bit of a risk to take any kind of rush builds from any race, really. And you can see DignitasKiLLeR being very, very smart, taking the outside expansion first. There's just more minerals, a little bit easier to defend because Zerglings will be able to run around, be a little bit more free with that. And then he can just take the easily quick third hatch inside his on his inside expansion right there. So, smart play out of KiLLeR there. Getting his pool, he has gone a hatch first, did not get the pool up, so he's going to be a little bit vulnerable to cannon rushes. I'm kind of surprised he's not being extra safe and following that probe around to make sure it doesn't throw down any pylons.
Right. Now, he did scout that probe with that Overlord, and he's headed over there right now to make sure that he's not getting a pylon back here behind the mineral line. It looks like Nomi is going for that. Down goes the pylon, so he is going to start making this happen here. Going for the cannon rush on second.
Yeah, it's always a good decision to go a cannon rush. You can see DignitasKiLLeR actually pulling a lot of drones. Looks like a total of 7 drones pulling that. Going to try and get that probe before he can get any of the cannons up. Good snag, though. Does get the probe, although he is able to mineral walk away. There are 3 drones on that one cannon. Starting to throw that one down. I think Nomi's cannon rush has been defeated. It doesn't look like the hatch is up. The creep is going to make it a little bit harder to do that, and that is just a wasted pylon. So, kind of an overcommitment for Nomi. I think he should have done it a little bit sooner if he was going to cannon rush. And now DignitasKiLLeR is in a great position. He's up by 6 supply, and he has expansions out actually way ahead of Nomi's because he did waste the extra minerals to put down those cannons and that pylon. So.
Right. Yeah, but that being said, I mean, Nomi is going to have this Nexus down before the 5-minute mark. He's going to be in pretty decent shape defensively. He's got that 1 photon cannon here at his entrance, as well as now working on his gateway, and there goes his cybernetics core. So I think that moving forward here, this is still anybody's game to win, but we do have a third, very early third, going down here for KiLLeR. So winning.
Yeah, 5-minute third.
Unbelievable. So how do you feel about this play here? I mean, he's going completely gasless right now.
Yeah, it's actually pretty standard on a map like this. It's very open in the middle, so if Zerg can take map control, which they usually can when the Protoss player goes Forge Fast Expand, he's in a great position to take this third. It's inside his space. It's super secure. The only thing he really has to worry about, and I don't think Nomi's going to be going for kind of airplay because he doesn't have his Vespian Geyser, his rich Vespian Geyser taken. I think he'll be okay. I'm going to assume maybe a blink play or maybe even some 6-gate pressure. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. It's a little hard to determine at this time, but definitely not going to be any Stargate play. That gas is now just being taken, so we'll have to see.
Yeah, we can pretty much eliminate that. I think at this point, 6 minutes in, would be a little bit late to start working on those, on those Stargates. But he's chrono boosting out currently ground weapons level 1, which makes me think we're going to see a good Sentry Zealot push out of him. I love this play these days. You push out with about 6 to 8 sentries. About the same number worth of zealots, maybe toss down a forward pylon and get a couple extra zealot warp-ins and do some damage to their mineral line at their natural, and it's a great play, and I expect to see that out of Nomi tonight.
Yeah, and if Nomi's playing really, really smart and on top of his game, he'll force field the entrance to the main since 2 hatches are there versus just the 1. So that'll definitely delay the Zerglings, especially since the Destructible Breeze have not gone down yet, which is kind of a burden to the Zerg player on a map like this. So DignitasKiLLeR has to be aware of the fact that there's a possibility if he sees this Zealot Sentry play coming in. However, if that were not to be the case and a whole bunch of Lings were able to get out, this is a wide open area for Lings to have a feast on Zealots and Sentries. He may not be able to kill anything, but he's going to waste a lot of force fields and force the Protoss player to go back home. Right. So it really it's really in Nomi's hand. And look at this Overlord spread at a killer. Look at that. Look at the vision he has right now. Yeah, really spectacular.
Great. Well, and he just poked into his base, and I do want to mention very quickly that that Nomi did have a Dark Shrine put down right next to his Nexus. As soon as he saw that Overlord coming in for the scout, he canceled it. But in the meantime, guess what Killer did? He moved in here to that pocket expansion, and he scouts the Twilight Council, so he at least knows that there's still the great possibility that DTs come out, but there has not been a replaced Dark Shrine here. So smart play so far from Nomi, and I think that he's going to transition into something different here.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a good decision out of Nomi to cancel that. I mean, DTs on a map like this, it will grant you map control, but it'd be very limited. Zerg will have his lair very quickly. You can see Killer has his lair about 50% done right now. So he's going to... DTs at this point in time kind of worn out their usefulness, but he has taken a really quick third, which is about 60% done. And Zerg really not exerting a lot of map presence. Does have a couple watchtowers. Does he see that third, though? He does. Guess he's just going to go ahead and let it get up. Zerg's learning speeds finishing up, getting the +1 for the missile attack, so it will be a Roach play. Double Roach Warren! Oh no, this is going to be that double Roach Warren play, and I have to say this is a great thing to do against a Protoss that takes a fast third on a map like this. Right. At the very least, you're going to kill off that outlying third, force Protoss back on 2 base, and then you're free to go ahead and just expand like crazy and keep him pinned to 2 base, or go ahead and just kill him. So, really smart decision there.
Yeah, this is great decision making. It looks like, I mean, with this there's a couple cannons here for defense. He is getting charge out, but quite frankly, defending this from a Roach play like this, he's going to need way more than just charge here. He needs to have a solid DPS unit like, say, Colossus, or even Storms would work just fine, but at this point, this is not going to be the correct defenses, so I think losing this third is almost an absolute certainty as we move forward here. Because
look at all those roaches that are popping out.
Yeah, I mean he's making his play right now, and this is a smart play from him, and he's going to start moving out across the map here at just about any moment, and I expect this to go extremely well for him. Nice planning from him, and the map control right now from him is ridiculous. And Nomi is missing out on a lot of scouting intel at this point because he did not get that Robo out. And
Violet making a good point there. Protoss has 11 sentries and probes. That's all he has, and no zealots. I mean. And without Stalkers, does he even have a Robo done? A lot of gateways going down. Nomi trying to go for that big macro game, but Killer says, no way, I'm not going to let you have this game that easily. Too good of a map for Protoss because of that inside expansion. So he's going to go ahead and do this double Roach timing. There is cannons there for detection, but they can be easily sniped off. And then Roaches will be able to burrow and unburrow, do that burrow micro to regain that health so quickly. It's really unreal. Yeah. And, man, there's a lot of Roaches coming. This is a really interesting timing attack. Here it goes. Roaches coming in. Sentry's Guardian Shield going down. Few Stalkers there. There are a significant number of Stalkers, but there's just so many Roaches. I don't think this will be enough for the Protoss player to take on all these Roaches. Yeah, good force fields, but don't forget, there goes the burrow micro going underneath. Gonna go ahead and just bypass those force fields. When you have Roaches with burrow and their speed, it's just almost kind of pointless to have force fields at all. Although Protoss making a good decision, backing up into the smallest corner he possibly can to kind of get away from the Roaches, short range. Guardian Shield's going down, but all the Roaches just going to town on those Stalkers. 3 left, all but sentries. I think it's all but over from here. And DignitasKiLLeR just has Roaches rallied right on over across the map. And, man, that is a really brutal timing attack.
It is. I mean, and so many sentries. The trouble with sentries is even though they can put down those force fields, they just don't do the damage necessary to the Roaches. There's your GG from Nomi. DKiLLeR taking game number 1 here. This is a phenomenal matchup, but game number 2 will be headed your way here in just a moment, and it will be Nomi's map pick. Interested to see what that's going to be, and we will catch you guys in just a moment. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Knack. We've got that live tournament action continuing here between Nomi and DKiLLeR. Killer taking down game number 1 with a beautiful Roach timing push there. He did get double upgrades on those Roaches. Windy, I mean, how did you enjoy that last game? I was floored almost by
yeah, I love double
attack.
roach timing attacks on maps like Crevasse. It's the perfect map for it. What DignitasKiLLeR did in response to Nomi was actually pretty much the best thing you could possibly do, because a +1 roach timing attack with the burrow and tunneling claws in there makes force fields kind of null and void. The fact that he is, he went for that really quick third just really made him vulnerable to attack like that, and Killer saw that, exploited it, and just took the game by the horns. And wow, Nomi going, does he, I guess he's going to go for the Forge Fast Expand outside and try to kick another third?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's what it's looking like.
And apparently I'm still having audio issues.
Okay, well, I just maxed
far away.
out, so we'll see.
No, I think it's because I'm kind of far away from my microphone. Should be a little bit better now. I brought my microphone a little bit closer.
Okay, sounds good. All right, but DignitasKiLLeR, like you say, I mean, he's a strong player, and taking down game number 1 is a great deal for him. In this particular type of tournament, you want to stay in the winner's bracket where possible. Making it into the loser's bracket can kind of mess with your mindset a little bit, and you end up maybe going against somebody else who is feeling the same way, feeling like, man, I screwed this up, and maybe starting getting into that cheese type of style play. And I think the loser's bracket tends to have a little bit more fireworks sometimes, and in the winner's bracket you get very safe play, which I think is what these guys are most comfortable with. Do you see this? DignitasKiLLeR there pulling a lot of drones to try and take out that guy, and Nomi giving the hee-hee there. Kind of an interesting deal. But Nomi now taking that to expansion. He does have it gone down right now. Wow, taking it first. Unbelievable. And now he's going to put down his forge here, and he is going to go for a fast third here as well.
Wow, Nomi playing very, very risky. I do like it, though. It's a smart, intelligent play. If Zerg is denied that scouting into that backdoor natural, it could be very, very difficult for him to determine that a quick 3 base was taken from Protoss. Essentially a 2 Nexus before... 2 Nexus before a gateway, but gateway and forge has gone down, so looks like he's going to Nomi's going to play a little bit safer. But I'm curious. I'm going to see how this plays out, and you know what? I think DignitasKiLLeR will be able to handle it. He's doing scouting now. He does do the smart thing and take that outer third. What's caught your eye that you're laughing at?
Well, it's just the wall off is so comical to me. I love how he's walling off here. It's not funny in the sense that it's a bad wall off, because I think it's actually quite brilliant. But what he's doing is so interesting. He's got a small gap there right up against the wall, right behind the photon cannon. So this is essentially a tight wall off as soon as he gets either a probe or particularly a zealot there is what he's going to put there. But a nice little wall off, and he's setting himself up here at the top of his ramp to wall that off tightly if he does endure a hefty push. So this meat shield, if you will, down here on the low ground is going to be acting essentially as what I just said, a meat shield, but taking the brunt force of that of the attack, giving him the opportunity to fall back if his opponent does indeed go for a big push, because of this particular fast expansion style that he's going for. And he got that Nexus down in great time. He's currently getting it, pumping out some probes, and we've got a third now going down for KiLLeR.
Yeah, and it looks like KiLLeR doing the smart thing about the same timing on this third as well, the last game. I'm curious if he's going to pull the same roach thing, the same double roach build. It's kind of risky to pull it off 2 builds in a row, but you know what? It's possible. It's another good map. Any in-base expansion map where Protoss is feeling extra greedy and wants to take a fast third, double roach upgrade timing attack is very, very potent. I know I've said it before, but I really can't emphasize it enough. Not enough players do it, in my opinion. Stargate, though, coming out of Nomi, although off of only 2 gas, so I wonder what his plan is going to be. I like how the DignitasKiLLeR has his lanes spread out, making sure no units are going to get by those, not without him knowing at least. And Overlord in the back has spotted that natural's gone down. Does he see that gas? He does see the gas finishing up. So 3 gas Stargate. What do you think, Nak? Is he going to transition into maybe like a 7-gate push with Void Rays and Phoenixes in there to just kind of put on the hurt to the Zerg player?
Yeah, that's one of his options. Another good option that he has here off of a single Stargate play like this is transitioning into his robotics play as well, with about 5-6 gates behind there for heavy zealot. But either one is going to be, I think, a smart choice. I hope that he's going to base that on his scouting intel. What tech pattern is KiLLeR going for here? If he's going heavy roaches, he is going to want to go for that robotics. If he's not going for the heavy roach, he's going more of your, Zergling, maybe Baneling, or if he's grabbing even, some Mutalisk play or something like that, then obviously he's going to stick with more of the stalkers and the air play. So hopefully he'll do that off of the scouting. Sometimes, you know, Protoss players do get forceful, though, with their builds, and, I mean, that's a good possibility here as well.
Yep, and
going down. Oh, it's Robo. Look at that. He's going right into it. So he's getting forceful here.
Yep, Roachhorn has gone down along the Elo Chamber. No speed yet for the Lings, and it's kind of an interesting choice from Killer. He has had the gas for it for quite some time. I wonder what he is planning. Maybe it's another Roach timing attack. There in certain builds, if you're going for an all-in against a Protoss player, you really can forego Ling speed because they're not going to be too quick out of the gate with any kind of Stargate pressure. I think DignitasKiLLeR no, he has not seen the Stargate, and this could be pretty tough to deal with. Although,
well, he knows it's there because that Void Ray has been killing some Zerglings on his way across the field here. But
no, that's War Crawler's out of range. Oh, now it goes.
There it goes. Yeah. So he does make it in there. He's picked up a couple kills. Those were all Zerglings, though. However, so. He hasn't done the economic damage that he wants to do at this point, but he is only on the one gateway, but he's continuing to produce Void Rays here, and I like this play from him. He's going to have a great unit mixture, and this presents a problem for Killer now. How do I build a unit composition to counter what my opponent is going here? And what's your take on that? Since, I mean, you're more of a Zerg player here. So, Winnie, what would you do if your opponent is going for a very large unit mixture here? He's going for that robotics play, and what would you do?
Try to get aggressive and start harassing as soon as possible. I think Infestors are a great choice against heavily mixed unit combinations from the Protoss player, specifically Immortals, Void Rays, Phoenixes, because they're all very slow units. I mean, Phoenixes are obviously very quick, but they can be fungled and they can't shoot the ground unless they pick something up. So Infestors are a great answer to that. Infested Terrans are great against air units, obviously. They're great against Immortals because of the low DPS, the low damage but high DPS. Right. So just a straight Ling Infestor play would be a really good answer to this, but it looks like he's going for Roaches, getting the Burrow and the Tunneling Call and the Roach Speed, Glial Reconstitution. Wow. Right. I've said it a million times, decided to choke it up that one time. +1 as well for the Roaches, +1 Carapace too. So it looks like he's going to try and hit with a 1-1 timing attack, put on some pressure. It may work because it looks like Protoss has taken a very quick third, and Killer has spotted that. Mm-hmm. And
I mean, he's taking a risk here, but the only nice thing I can say for him at this point is that he is going to have a great DPS unit out on the field here in just a moment. He is getting those Colossus out, and I like this play from him. He's also staying on top of his upgrades here, but he does need to get out some defensive units at this point. I mean, it's 11 minutes in. You cannot expect to, to go through the entire first 15 minutes of the game and make it to late game without producing an army. And so here he goes. He's starting to warp in a couple extra units, but I mean, he's really got to consider getting out quite a bit more. And I like what Killer's doing here. He's going to go ahead and take down his fourth. This is the smart play from a Zerg player on such a large map. Just expand like crazy away from the Protoss player. Yeah, especially if he's not going to be aggressive with you at all. And right now, that's what Nomi's doing. He's sitting back in his base and trying to turtle up a scary death ball. And I just don't know if it's going to work.
Yeah, it's at this point in time that Protoss really has to be doing some kind of push, or otherwise Zerg is just going to start expanding and get out of control. And you can kind of see that he's taking a pretty early fourth at the 12-minute mark. That's usually when you see a very late third of Zerg. And he even has a macro hatch in his main. Hasn't teched very high, although he is getting +2 attack for his Roaches. I don't see a +1, +2 Carapace coming out. Any other tech, and Infestation Pit has started as well as Aspire, so DignitasKiLLeR knows the
attack, and he's actually catching his opponent off guard here just a little bit, but now double Colossus here with these great force fields, definitely going to be able to take these guys out. So this would be a good spot for DKiLLeR to go ahead and back out. I'm actually fairly impressed that Nomi got just enough units out there right in time to deal with that. So good stuff.
And Killer has to go home. I'm kind of surprised Nomi wasn't more aggressive with the Void Rays. They will not take damage from Roaches under any circumstances. So those are your best units. He should have even given chase, although he might be wary of some Infestors that are coming out. Some drones being pulled from Killer. Maybe he's just transferring them over because he's a little bit further away from his other bases. Smart decision there. Little things like that really tell you a pro player from just your average, good Masters player doing smart things like that, even in the heat of battle. Right. Going to also take a fifth of his own. And
another thing to mention, though, real quick, is that DKiLLeR or DignitasKiLLeR did grab his Spire out here.
Yep. And Hive is on the way, morphing about 50% done. What do you think, Ultralisks or Broodlords?
Oh, Broodlords for sure. He's already got 7 Corruptors in the
there you go.
Right now. He is going to grab those out. They'll be great counters to the Colossus for now. And then once he's able to take down these air units and the Colossus, I expect to see some Broodlords out of him very, very quickly thereafter. And we'll see how that's going to go.
Oh, I think we ran into our... I think that the stream went down, Knack. Not good.
That's okay. It should come back online here in just a second. Looks like it just encountered a glitch of some kind. Here, I'll just put it on.
Yeah, there we go.
Live.
And it looks like DignitasKiLLeR getting on the defensive, smart decision, throwing up a whole bunch of spine crawls. This is going to prevent any kind of base trade scenarios that the Protoss may want to get into.
Right. Well, engaging in the center of the map is exactly what a Zerg player wants to do. That gives him time to reinforce his base as in an army trade situation. That's what he wants to do, is be able to remax an army faster and then on the counterattack sort of be ahead. And that's what you've got to do in the late game, I think, as Zerg. Now, we do have a large push coming out from Nomi. He's currently maxed out. He's got 3 Colossus in this army, a good bunch of Void Rays here, so just a couple of those, Broodlords are going to get taken out, and he's going to have some pretty serious answers to that if he does indeed go for those Broods. But
Greater Spire's about halfway done.
So it's not going to happen soon enough, huh?
Yeah, they will deal with the corrupt Void Rays and Colossi pretty quick, but he needs to be able to soak up a lot of damage. Killer could be in a lot of trouble. He just doesn't have the right position to deal with this army.
Right.
Nomi backing up a little bit. Funkos do go down. Corruptors darting back and forth. Killer trying to pull back a little bit, trying to buy time for his Broodlords to possibly get out, and a few more Spine Crawlers to get up. Infestitarians going down to soak up a little bit of damage. Tons of Funkos going down. Huge number of Corruptors now, though. They will be able to clean up at least the Colossi and the Void Rays. But I don't know if there's enough Roaches here to deal with the Stalkers, and I think looks like those are getting cleaned up. And now Protoss does have a few units left over compared to that of Zerg, so I don't know. This might be a bad situation for Killer, although he's now remaxing with 19 Roaches, and I think he'll be okay. What does Nomi do from here? As a pretty botched push off a 3 base. How do you react? What do you think went wrong?
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure anything necessarily went wrong there, but they definitely traded armies. But this is the interesting part for Killer, is now notice that he's way ahead in the supply count, and he's going to be remaxing this army very, very quickly. He's got a lot of Roaches just now popping, and he's looking to be okay here. I don't think that he's going to be in trouble. The biggest problem for him is that he's got to make sure and kill the tech units every single time he trades armies like that. And that's what he accomplished here. So I think it was well done on Killer's part. Now, does that necessarily put Nomi behind here? I don't think so. I mean, he's pulling out some more tech units. He's getting up a couple more Void Rays and some Colossus, and should be able to defend here. But Killer's taking the control of this map right now. Notice the creep spread all over the place.
Oh yeah, blocking laying expansions from all the Protoss possible places where you like to go.
Yep.
And he's coming with a little bit of Roach counterattack into this 4th up here. Protoss really out of position. Probes even being transferred over, and at the very least, these Roaches will be able to pick off a few probes, but perhaps not. And canceling a bunch of weapons, and those Roaches will be going home. Although a blink coming from the Protoss player going to do a little bit of damage to those Roaches, although once they do burrow, they will be able to recover health pretty quickly.
Yeah, great stuff. Now, an interesting part for Killer now is he does have a lot of Broodlords out on the field. 2 more are on the way. He's got pretty decent Corruptors on the field, which he has to have now. If you are going to commit to Broodlords at this point, you have to be able to deal with the Void Rays, and you need to be able to deal with those Colossus as well. You don't want them to destroy your ground army too quickly, because you must have ground support for these Broodlords. But moving forward here, I'd say Killer's got a great unit composition to deal with what Nomi's got at this point, and Nomi may be in a little bit of trouble during this next engagement. It's going to come down to his Blink Micro, because he's so heavy on these Stalkers. It's just going to come down to that.
Yeah, and a Mothership is on the way. I just happened to notice that now.
Yeah,
How terrible it would be.
Great,
+3 as well for the Protoss player. So once this Mothership comes out, those Broodlords will be a little less effective, because they will be able to be Vortex up. Is there any kind of Twilight Archons out? I don't know. Let me look at the unit composition here. Nothing on the unit count station, so Protoss really needs to get Archons out. Here comes the attack from the Zerg player. Big meandering on me. Good composition, good number of Roaches, a few Corruptors in there to deal with the Colossi. And here it goes, big engagement happening. Funko going down on all those Stalkers. They will be picked off very quick thanks to those Void Rays. And Mothership staying well out of position, does not want to get caught up in this. Right. And there is only one Overseer here for the Zerg player.
Ooh,
if Protoss is smart, if he's smart, he'll be able to pick that off. Although the Corruptors are starting to go to work on that Mothership, not enough energy for Vortex, still 25 away. It may go down before it ever does really much of anything.
Well, but I mean, look at the supply counts here. Killer's still so far ahead. His ground army is still alive, and these Broodlords are just laying waste to this army. Your Colossus here is about to go down. That was the main DPS there against those roaches, and now too many roaches still alive. The roaches don't need to engage here necessarily. They just have to try and keep the Stalkers away from the Broodlords, and they're doing a great job of it at this point. Too many Broods. This fourth gonna go down here, it appears, for Nomi, and that is a big loss. And this may be too much of a loss for him to sustain.
Yep, and there's GG.
Yep.
And Killer's going to ahead and advance.
Unbelievable play.
Someone's saying if he won carriers, he would have won.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yep. Gotta give it a shot every now and then. But that is going to be a good game for Killer, taking down Nomi there fairly quickly. We'll be continuing to follow him, I think, so far through the winner's bracket. But, I mean, Nomi's not out of it yet, so those people who are out there rooting for Nomi, he will be in the loser's bracket. We will be casting the rest of his games tomorrow and the next day, so don't count him out yet, and there's plenty that he can still get done. But we'll be going into another match here in just a moment, so don't out tab, always Alt-Starcraft. We'll see you guys then.